Right, welcome to Myaaarwin Nunez's goalkeeper tutorial. Um, uh, you know, coaching GKs can be a lot of work, so I figured I'd just fucking do a video and, try and put everything that I know into this. Obviously, I'm not the best, okay? There's Lux, there's KR, there's Chris, there's all these amazing goalkeepers. I don't even play goalkeeper anymore, really. But I figured I'd just put everything that I've learnt over the past few months of playing goalkeeper and whatnot into one video. So, first I want to give a shout out to Big Man Aleem. His tutorials were very useful for me starting off when I was learning. So I'll put a link for them in the description so you can go watch them if you want. The Koreans, they're very helpful going through their forums and whatnot, having a look at what they do and stuff. Arian Seabot, very helpful in Gen, taught me how to do corners properly. And Keeper's House, so people like KR and Chris, you know who you are. Yeah, so cheers. Alright, let's jump into it. I don't want to waste too much time. I already did this before and it was anyway. Okay, so first things first, I want to make sure that you understand that, like, if it gets to the point where you are having to save a shot, your attack has failed, then your midfield, and then your defense, and then it gets to you. So, like, at that point, don't beat yourself up about it, because the thing is, it's got to you after everybody else has failed. It's not your fault, you know, end of the day. You're just there as the last line of defense, trying your best to do what you can. And, you know, you've got one of the hardest jobs, you know, so don't beat yourself up about it. So the way I often think about goalkeeper is that you're sort of managing risk, because, like, I try to think in percentages and stuff. So let's say the 1v1 chance, the attacker has like a 90% chance to score. Really, like, they've got so many options. They've got space. They've got time. You know, they've just got so many advantages when it comes to it. So your goal is, in my view, to try and reduce the chance of them scoring. Right, not to necessarily stop it from happening altogether, because it's not possible. You know, and especially in a 1v1, you're not going to get that to 0%. You probably get it to 70% or something. You know, realistically. Maybe 50-50 if you're lucky. And you can do that by, for instance, if you're in 1v1, I'd recommend rushing or faking a rush, or like running out, closing the distance, not letting them dribble you. But you know, there's certain things you can do with your positioning and whatnot to try and make it so it's less likely for them to score and put them off, basically. And yeah, the key is, even if it does go in the end, as long as you did the best thing, like you tried, you know, as hard as you could to put them off, they might still score. They might be good enough. It's okay, you know. Don't lose your sanity. Don't lose your composure. Just move on. Okay, goal went in. Oh well, you did your best, you know. So it's very important to remember. When it comes to goalkeeping, I'd say the most important things are your mentality and your composure. I think that comes first. Because if you lose composure, you're going to make even more mistakes. And as a goalkeeper, if you make mistakes, that is a goal. That's how you're punished. If I'm a goalkeeper and I come out and I get tilted and I pre-dive and this guy just shoots it there, it's goal, you know. If somebody else makes a mistake, if the CM makes a mistake and loses the ball, it's not a goal instantly. They've still got to earn it. You know, they've got to get past the defenders and they've got to shoot against you. It's like, there's still so much to do. But with us, with last line of defense, your mistakes will matter more. So it's important to keep a mentality same. I'd say distribution is also very important. So that's like passing. Because if let's say you're not a good passer as a goalkeeper, and you always end up passing it to the enemy team, your team's just going to be constantly defending because, okay, they've got an attack, you save it or whatever, or the ball gets collected, and then you give the ball away instantly. Now your team has worked all that time trying to waste their stamina, trying to stop that attack, and they're all out of position, and now they've got to defend again, and so the more chances you concede, the more goals you're going to concede. So good passing will prevent that. So it's very important. And on top of that, as a GK, I think you can find often that you can be like a very important playmaker for a team. There's so many times I'll do a long ball from here, like a goal kick, up to my centre forward, and it'll be like Trabajador or someone who just pops it, jumps in the air, heads it over the defender, 1v1, and maybe a goal. You might get an assist. So you can be very vital as well, because when you think about it, you've got such good vision as a goalkeeper. You can see the whole pitch and everywhere where people are, the spaces. So if people pass back to you as well, you could do a good quick pass to the wing or whatever. You could start a play, a nice attacking play, very, very easily. And of course, the last part of it is saving and positioning. So obviously, if you're stood on this side of the goal, they're just going to shoot there. And there's nothing you can do about it because you're over here. You can't reach that. So my recommendation in general would be just like stay in the middle, roughly 1 foot to each side, and you'll cover most of the goal, really. Okay. So to go a bit more in depth, with mentality, I can't really help you. That's a you thing. All I can do is tell you, remind you that football is a game of mistakes. That's how it is. Everybody makes mistakes. That's how goals happen. That's how chances happen. And the goal of football is to make your opponent make more mistakes than you, basically. And the thing is, you'll see, a attacker will miss a chance or something. They'll shoot it wide. Okay, they've done that. The game, it goes unnoticed mostly. It gets played a little bit. That's it. A midfielder gives the ball away. Okay, well, it's not a goal instantly, like I said before. But if a defender makes a mistake, now they're through and goal. And if the keeper makes a mistake, it is a goal. So we've got to be a lot more careful, and we're going to take the blame a lot more. Be scapegoated, when really every goal is always a failure of the whole team, really. So, let's say, even if it's a goal where the keeper's here trying to look for a chance and they're getting pressured, the likelihood is that the reason why they've taken that time and they've ended up losing the ball is because they had no options. None of their fullbacks were getting into position, or nobody was helping them out. And yeah, it's a little bit on them as well, but, it's always a team failure when a goal is conceded. Right. So let's talk about passing then. Let's talk about distribution. My advice is always use straight. Straight passes, simple enough, easy to read the ball, makes it easier for your players to get the ball. Unless you're trying to do some crazy long ball across the pitch to behind the goal line or something, behind the halfway line, then you can do some weird curve. But generally speaking, just do a straight one, unless you're trying to get it past the defender or something, or an attacker that's pressing you or something. Just use straight, if possible. It's easier, much easier. And, if you can, try and full power it. Depends how good your teammates are. Sometimes, if you're in Div 5, that's, a little tap is what they need. Because if you launch at them, they're just not going to be able to receive it. But generally speaking, if there's good players, they'll catch it. So try and full power it. Try and make the plays quick, basically, with passing. And I say generally, you want to be passing either to your fullbacks, one there, maybe a centre back if he's free, if he's not got anyone on him. Maybe a CM, which for that you have to do a raised pass, so you have to lift it. I lift it sort of like that. I do half power, and I'll go to him, so you get it over the attacker. but not like behind your CM. And then to your wingers in your CF. So for this, I try to use like 90 to 95% power roughly. And I just look sort of up like this, I guess. Like I've got a bit of height. Sort of look at where my shoes are positioned. I don't know. I've got like a system in place, but I don't remember how it works. And then for the opposite direction, you're going to need like maximum power to reach that. But for these ones, you can do 90% roughly, and it should be fine. It's about how high you aim and whatnot. Another thing that's really important is understanding tempo, how the game works. Let's say enemy teams come, they've tried to shoot, and you've caught the ball. Right, so now you've got to think, do I just launch it up to my CF as quick as I can? Or do I hold the ball and I wait, and then maybe give it to a fullback and we build up from the back? Or, you know, what tempo should we be going at right now? And I think there's two things to think about with that. It's positioning of everybody on the pitch. If you've got one CF up and he's got 3 defenders on him and everybody else in the team is here defending, it's not a good idea to give it to the CF because he's not going to be able to 1v3 usually. It's not worth it. So you should just hold it and wait. But you know, if you've got 3 of your attackers up and only 2 of their defenders are there, or it's a 3-on-3, then you can just launch it up, and then they're sort of isolated 1-1-1, and they can create a chance, and you get a good counter attack. You know, think Alisson Becker to Mo Salah, boom, launches it up. Salah turns Martinez 1v1, sorted on a nice counter attack. Oh yeah, and the other part of that is stamina. So it might seem a bit weird, but you should be kind of thinking about how much stamina everybody has on the pitch, if you can, and like so attackers and like your teammates as well. Because if you've just done some defending and your strikers ran back and whatnot, and he's not got enough stamina to get all the way across the pitch, whatever, and everybody's a bit low on stamina, then you might as well hold it and just like chill for a bit. But on the contrary, if your CF has got lots of stamina and their CB has been like pushing up and moving about a bunch, it might be a good idea to go to the CF because they're going to have the slight advantage on stamina to maybe get past and to win the duel and get 1v1. So it's important to think about, I would say. And one thing, a mistake that I see with passing is the ball comes from the enemy side, comes to the corner flag. You're the keeper, you try and be a sweeper keeper, you run out, and then you try and long ball it up, but it let's say it just hits the CM, the enemy CM, open goal, he shoots, he scores. So don't try and do a long ball unless you know you can get it there, or if you know you can get back in time. Or just, pass it to a fullback and run back to your box, or bring it back to your box and pick it up, or, try something else. Don't just try and long ball it immediately and risk having an open goal, because that's a silly mistake to make. We've all made it, but just don't do it. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about positioning real quick. So, the basics are stand in the middle, stand near the goal line, one or two steps to either side, depending on where the ball is. If the ball's over here, to this side. If the ball's over here, to this side. And I'd say with binds as well, I'm using mouse wheel, scrolling up and down to make a quicker save, because it spams the jump command, so it makes it like instant basically. Compared to if you press spacebar, that could be a bit finicky. I would recommend switching to mouse wheel if you can, even though it's a little bit awkward at first. But you get used to it; it's really useful. Right. Okay. So, in terms of which way you're looking, angles of your camera and whatnot, it's a good idea. Let's say we're gonna make him an attacker now, even though he was my CB before. Right, there's our attacker, the left winger. I could be stood like this, completely flat, but then I'm not gonna cover as much of the goal as I'd like to. So what you really want to do is you want to be sort of angled a bit more towards him. So see how like I'm facing, and I'm a bit off my line, so that I don't fall into the goal. And then I can cover a bit more space. I confront him more evenly. You've got to be careful with this, because if you angle too much like this, and he shoots near post like that, and you dive, I don't know if I can do this. Hang on. Yeah, so I saved it, but it still goes in. It still rebounds in because I'm behind the line, and it's a goal. You know, so even though you saved it, you've got to make sure you're not falling behind the line, basically. An important thing to remember with your hitbox is when you're diving, your height is reduced, so they can shoot over you a lot easier. And you've also got this forward dive. Very rare to use. It's like very occasional. If you're just needing to get to the ball before the hacker, you can use it. And you've got back dive, which is if, say you're off the line, you need to run back and you need to dive back. Or if somebody's shooting from there and you need to save the back post, you can do that. So I'm going to ask you to imagine, when it comes to 1v1s especially, this is a game of rock, paper, scissors. It's a mind game. It's a battle of the minds, if you will. Okay. So I'd say you can do things such as rushing, especially in 1v1s, to close the distance, and it makes yourself bigger so that it's easier to catch the shot and reduce the goal chance. So, say the attacker's coming here. If you stay on the line, he's got so much time to think and aim and just score, really. So usually when they've entered the box, I'll try and run out a little bit at the very least. Try and close the distance, get closer to them, make yourself bigger, make it harder for them to shoot. Because if they shoot like that and you're here, they can't get through, really. But there is a downside to rushing, though. For instance, like I said, it's rock, paper, scissors. So, say you choose rushing. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes, instead, now he can just chip you. He can just chip you, basically. Get it on target. There we go. He can just chip you. So, you've run out. Goes in. Or he can dribble around you. He can go turn you to the side and slot it in. So it's rock, paper, scissors. If you choose rushing, that's what they can do against you. If you don't choose rushing, you stay on the line, then they've got a lot more time to shoot. And they can just be very precise and aim exactly in the corner or something, if they're really good. And another option is fake rushing. So it's he's running in. You sort of rush a little bit to make him think that he can chip you or something. He goes for the chip, but you've stopped. Maybe you start running back, and then you dive, and you catch it. So there's all sorts of ways you can go about it. It's mind games, really. It's a 1v1, a mental game. So it's up to you on how your style is. You can develop your own. I like to rush a lot, probably a bit too much, but that's me. So. But yeah, the key is to be unpredictable, because I've been known as a rusher. I just rush all the time, or I used to especially. So good players like Robbie Farah or whatever would just dribble me, or they would chip me, and it's an easy goal for them. But then when I started learning, okay, now let's not rush all the time. Maybe I'll fake a rush, so now that he thinks he can chip me like he usually can, but because I faked it, I can run back and I can catch it or prevent it or something, or maybe I just stand on the line, intimidating, and then oh, when's he gonna rush? When's he gonna rush? And I don't rush, and then they're just a bit thrown off or something. So yeah. Yeah. So there's a thing called pre-diving. You're always gonna hear, don't pre-dive. I abbreviate it as like prediction diving. So there's diving with reaction, which is when after the ball has been shot, now I dive. And there's diving before the ball's shot. So you say you're looking at the head of the player, and he's looking like, his head's looking like this. He's looking towards the far post. You can see him aiming. And then you just go, oh, well, he's about to shoot, I'm just going to dive. But then, let's say he just switches his head at last second. Boom. It's a goal, because you pre-dived. I'd say a quick caveat to that is, closer they are to the goal, the more acceptable it is to pre-dive. If they're full powering it from here, and it's like a rebound, like the ball, you've saved the shot, it's gone here, and then they're shooting, you might as well just like quickly try and look at where their head is and just quickly dive as quick as you can, because otherwise you're not going to be able to react in time, and that's acceptable. Unless you've got amazing reactions, in which case you might as well just react. So I will say, oh yeah, and you know, if they're shooting first post, usually you're gonna need to be more prepared for that than if they shoot far post, because if they shoot far post from there, you've got a little bit more time to react compared to if they just shoot instant. So I always try and be a bit more ready to save a first post if I can, having my key on A like ready to go, I guess. And I'll say another thing, so obviously you look at the players' heads to see when they're shooting or where they're aiming. And when people have to shoot, what they have to do is they have their small touches with their dribbling. So see how close it is to my feet? Well, I'm terrible, but you know. And then they take a big one so they can charge their shot. So, big one, charge, shoot. So if you see them take a bigger touch than normal, they're probably going to shoot. Obviously, some really good players will just fake it. But, you know, at that point, it is what it is. So, don't worry. Another tip about saving that some people don't know is that you can control rebounds, the direction they go, sort of. If he shoots, let me try and get a rebound. Okay, I have to dive way too late. So see how it rebounds off, and then an attacker can come. So if he shoots, I turn it to the side a bit, or I flick my camera, and it went a little bit more straight than it went last time. So if you can master like flicking down your mouse or something. Okay, I can't save my, but yeah, like let's say they shoot at you, and you get the rebound, and you just like flick your mouse down like after you've saved. So you do save, and you flick your mouse down, then the ball might bounce a bit closer to you, and you can catch it, and the rebound won't go to the attacker. But yeah, so basically, rebounds go roughly affected by where you're aiming. So keep that in mind if you can. And then these are the kind of shots that give me the most problem. From the side, these sort of hello bro shots. I can't do a good one, but you know, like top spin from the side, launches it far post. You know, it's hard to know where to be looking, because you've got the winger here, who's got the ball, you've got the people in the middle, so you want to be looking at them so you know where they are, but you also need to see him. So if you do this, and you look right at him, sure you could do the back dive, and you could do the save easier. But now you can't see the people in the middle, so sometimes it's good to just be like sort of looking like this, like diagonal. So you can make the save, but you can also keep track of the people in the middle. Yeah, and I'd say you know, keep in mind the vision of what the player's looking. So if I'm here and I'm taking the shot, I can't really shoot first post. It's not really happening. But I can shoot middle and I can shoot back post. So if you think about that, you don't have to be as close to the left to cover the first post as you normally would. You could maybe be a little bit further back, because because they're not going to get it in that little slot, really. They're going to be more likely to shoot here or in the middle. And then we'll do corners, we'll do free kicks. Sorry, video's getting a bit long now. Right, for corners. Let's say he does a corner like this. I line out my shoes. And I do a little bit of power. 2.5 bars or whatever for far post. What I used to do was I would wait to look where the head is of the player, and then pre-dive based on where they're aiming. Because at this range you have to, basically. And it works sometimes, and it's cool if you pull it off, because it's like, wow, look at the reflex save I made. But the best thing you can do on corners that I've transitioned to now, with the thanks to Seabot and Ari at Genesis, is to actually engage like I'm a player going for the header, and sort of running out, jumping up, holding M1 and catching it, because you've got increased height and you can just grab the ball and make an easy save there and completely cancel out the corner. And then especially if it's in the 16-yard box here, because then they can't use the zone. They have to pass out maybe to the CM on the edge of the box, who, if you're off your line, can take an easy shot. So you got to be a bit careful with that. But they can't really use in here. They can't cross properly in the middle. And if they cross out here, you got more time to react. So yeah, it's better. And for that, I would say go and customize and make sure you've got your jump key and your sight and your dive and your jump on separate keys. So for me, it's I've got my diving on my mouse wheel, and then I've got one of my side buttons is for jumping. So I can only jump with this when I'm holding A and D. Otherwise, you might try and run out for the corner. You might run out for it. This is me with my jump key. And now if I try and do that with my dive key, I've dived, and your hitbox gets smaller, so they just head it over you, easy. So you want to be jumping and not diving. And like headers, I tend to try and run onto the ball, so I can run forwards and catch it. It's easier to do than if you're trying to run backwards. But it depends on your own header technique and whatnot. Whatever's easiest for you, really. And then last thing, I guess, free kicks. So you've got this guy here, this fella, he's doing a free kick. Not the best one, but we'll take it. Right. So thing is, when you're in the middle of the box, you can't cover the corners if you're stood right in the middle. So what you would really need is you'd need maybe a teammate on the far post or the front post, and then you can cover the whole goal from wherever you are in the middle. You just wait for the shot, boom, dive. And in terms of positioning, if the free kick's from here on the right side, then you want to be a bit more to the right because you've got more time to react if they shoot far post. And if it's on the left, then you want to be a bit more to the left, because again, harder for them to shoot to the far post because you've got so much more time to run. And I usually use shift whilst I'm diving so I can get a little sprint boost. And then I'll do penalties, I guess. Penalties are random. The only thing with them is if you try and react dive, so you wait for the shot to go and then you dive, you're not going to get it. So literally just either make a decision before they've shot, look at their head if you can, and then just dive before they've, as quick as you can, basically. Yeah. So I think that's everything. If I've missed anything, let me know. Yeah, write in the comments or whatever. I'll probably do another one for defending and stuff, because that could be very useful. Mostly doing this so that I've got resources for my Alcaraz players. Maybe I'll do one on CM, maybe I'll do one. I'm not so good as an attacker, so probably won't do one on that, but I'll see what I can do. But yeah, anyway, cheers. Thanks for watching.